Hi, welcome to another episode of Talking with Docs. I am Dr. Paul Zalzo.
And I'm Dr. Brad Wiener.
Welcome to the channel.
Welcome.
We're going to talk about today whether or not you can get your cast wet. All right, so you broke a bone, your arm, your leg, something's in a cast. Can you get it wet?
I usually find this question is asked to me in a sheepish way, usually because the cast has already gotten wet.
Okay, so asking forgiveness rather than permission scenario.
Like, what happens if the cast gets wet? And then you
As
look
it's
down at
dripping.
you look down at their cast and it's destroyed. So I think the answer really depends on, first, what kind of cast do they have? So what if they have a plaster cast? Old school plaster.
Okay, those are great old school plaster casts. I like using them still sometimes because they're really moldable. It's really nice to mold the plaster cast. It's a lot less expensive than the fiberglass cast, but it can't get wet.
And it's weaker, and it's heavy. They're so heavy.
But it's easier to sign.
Yeah, they are.
Put your name on
they
it.
are
Try
easier to
writing
sign.
on a fiberglass cast.
You need special markers.
Okay.
So what happens if a plaster cast gets wet?
The plaster dissolves basically.
Right.
It just gets mushy, soft,
Yeah.
and it doesn't do its job of staying rigid to hold the fracture in place.
I've had some clever and defiant patients soak their plaster casts off and unravel the plaster in warm water and come in and say, oh, I don't know how the cast came off.
That's safer than I've had patients cut it off with a saw.
Really?
Like their own power. Yeah, it's dangerous. Don't remove your own
Seems
cast.
like a horrible
Leave that
idea.
for the orthopedic surgeon or the cast technician or the orthopedic technician, whoever's to do it. Okay, so plaster cast, forget it. You can't get that wet.
Okay, what about a fiberglass cast? So actually for people that have never seen a cast, what's under the cast? Is it just your skin and then you put fiberglass on it?
Yeah, no, there is a layer of soft material that goes under the cast, either fiberglass or plaster cast.
Okay.
And in the fiberglass case, fiberglass will stay rigid if it gets wet.
Right, like a boat.
You can fix your boat with some fiberglass.
Sure.
Don't use cast material for that, but it'll be okay. But it's the stuff underneath in the fiberglass cast case that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and it's going to get wet and it's going to probably smell, and who knows, it could be harbor an infection or whatever. So who knows? In general, no. So
and that stays wet, and that stays against your skin.
And then your skin can get excoriated and nasty, and so you definitely do not want to do that.
Yeah. So if you have a standard fiberglass cast with a standard lining, then you cannot get that wet.
And I would say if you did get it wet, you probably should call your surgeon and probably have to get a new cast. Unfortunately,
I've had people throw a hairdryer at it for a while too. Yeah. That's dangerous as well. Please don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't put anything down your cast ever.
So is there a scenario where you can get your cast wet?
So for me, there's two scenarios.
Okay.
So there are some commercially available, almost like inflatable sleeves that you can put around your cast that protect it from the water, allow you to bob around in the pool or the water slide or whatever.
Or a plastic bag and duct tape.
Plastic bag and duct tape, yes. So that's one way. And then the other way is you actually can line the inside of the cast with Gore-Tex instead of that cottony kind of soft material that we talked about.
So they make some special linings that you put underneath the fiberglass cast that can get wet.
Right. A little more expensive.
A little more expensive.
And not appropriate for all fractures either. So certainly in our practice with our cast techs, if it's really, really swollen, that's not a candidate. So usually in the first couple of weeks after fracture, it's not. But after that, depending on the scenario, something that you maybe want to discuss with your
that lining,
surgeon.
It's not as forgiving as the regular soft roll that we put underneath.
Right.
So you're going to swell and not swell.
But you can dunk it right under, shower, bath, all the rest of it.
But that stuff can get wet and it'll dry itself out.
What happens if you do it in the winter?
That's an issue if it stays wet and then you go outside.
It's minus 25 Celsius.
So yeah, if you do the après ski before the ski, you could freeze that water underneath your cast.
Right, so exercise.
Don't ski if you have a cast on.
I would agree with that. Yeah, don't ski. That's probably how you ended up with a cast in the first place.
One of the ways.
Yeah. So there you go. So if you have a cast, most often the answer is do not get it wet. And if you do, call your surgeon just for regular follow-up.
Yeah, and get that cast changed if it does get wet. And then if you are really curious about it, you can ask your orthopedic technician or orthopedic surgeon if they have any waterproof linings in combination with a fiberglass cast that might enable you to get that cast wet.
There you go. And often it's a short period of time anyway, so you probably can even just suck it up for a little while.
Short for us to say, long for you, and it's usually 6 weeks.
Yeah, middle of the summer when it's hot and you have a pool or something, you have a friend with a pool.
It's tough.
It's
no fun.
So if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel.
And remember, you are in charge of your own health.
We'll see you next time.